None of that. What's happening, Facebook? Hey, listen. You already know who it is, but you know what? I gotta bring in my new music. I gotta start off with my new music. I know y'all don't mind. I know y'all don't mind. We coming right back here in just a minute. Drop the beat. I love it. I know y'all like that sound. I know y'all like that. I know y'all like that. I appreciate that. Hey, Facebook. Hey, how's everybody doing today? You already know who it is. It's Dr. J. Will with the Elite Motivation Moments with Dr. J. Will. With my special guest today. My special guest all the way from across the street. My man, Ernie. He gonna talk to us. Mr. Chambers gonna talk to us today. We just gonna sit here. It's just a boys thing. We're gonna sit here and chap it up a little bit, see what he been doing in life, and all the things that he could help you with, especially you young entrepreneurs out there. If there was ever an entrepreneur, you got him right here today in studio. You got him right here today in studio. Listen. This is what we're all about. This is Dr. J. Will with the Elite Motivational Moments with Dr. John Williams. Listen, today I am just so glad, and I'm not going to talk a lot. I had some feedback, y'all. I'm not going to do a whole lot, but I wanted him to come in and I'm going to let him tell you about himself. And then for all of the Divine Nine, we got something special for you tonight. We're going to do something special before we end the show. But without further ado, I'm going to let my man, the man himself, Mr. Ernest Chambers, come in and just tell us a little about what you do, who you are. You know, this is listen. I always brag on it because this is the great grandson of Miss
Dinah Washington.
Dinah Washington,
Absolutely.
the queen of
Dinah Washington.
The queen of
everything in my book. She's the patriarch, the matriarch of our family. She's the motivation for the creativity in our family. So absolutely.
I never let her name rest, even if his mom here, his sisters, and them. I always honor your grandmother. So
I appreciate that.
That is. She did a lot.
She had fun.
And let me tell you, the reason I love her so much because I'm probably the #1 fan for Redd Foxx.
Okay.
And if you ever see the biography that is done on YouTube, your great grandmother, was one of the persons that helped Redd Foxx become who he is or was in the day.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of intertwining between that Quincy Jones, that Fox, that circle. You know, there's some athletes involved in there as well. So that's pretty cool history to have.
Yes, sir. So I was telling people you can choose to use the mic. If not, it still picks up.
Sure.
It's weird. But I was telling people that, you know, we understand it's Black History Month.
It is.
And understanding you are in a fraternity.
I am.
I'm sorry about that. But no. But on the serious side, understanding that we're both in fraternities, and most people like to just focus on, you know, saying, hey, you know, it's February, it's Black History Month. But I always say, as a Black man, if you live to see the next day without getting beat by the police, shot up, mistaken for something that you did not do, you just made history that day. So I try to look at the world as it's not just focusing on Blacks, it's just not focusing on one set race. Sure. But we can make history. We're making history right now. You have a Kappa and an Alpha sitting up here getting along together.
Camera.
How many years apart? I was spring '88.
I'm fall 2008.
And he's 2008.
Yeah. So, and then that extrapolates into the military, right? We served in 2 different eras in the military. So
I was a non-commissioned officer, and he was an officer.
I did commission as an intelligence officer, right? And they say that's an oxymoron, but I think I did pretty good.
He was an intelligence officer, and I had to fix his vehicle before he could drive it. I'm just saying.
I wasn't driving.
But getting to the meat of the matter, or the we didn't have a subject. We didn't want a subject tonight, but I know that we're going to talk about a couple of things. One, I know that you did real estate.
I do.
You let me see. I'm sorry. 2, 8, 7, 8. I know that you did real estate. I know that you at one time owned or you ran a chocolate factory.
Sure, owned and operated. Yeah.
Okay.
That was actually how I got my start in business after the military.
So, with that being said, that is what I was wanting to kick it off with. I wanted people to get you. I want you to tell us about you. I don't want to tell you about you. I want you to tell us about you.
Sure. I like how bright everything is. It feels good. This is very bright, very good. Sure. Before we jump into that, I want to speak to what you just discussed on the conversation around race and getting along and not making it about race, but being a biracial man in America. We all know that I'm a Black man in America. No matter how light or dark I get during the summer or pale during the winter, because of my ethnicity, I'm a Black man in America. And in our community here in Colorado Springs, granted, there's a minority doing a great amount of work. In Colorado Springs, it's still a minority. And that's why I found myself very passionate about a program I started called LEAD, Leadership, Effectiveness, and Diversity. And what that does is allows me to train leaders in our community to serve in nonprofit leadership components, to be able to have a voice, whether it's in the Hispanic community, basically any underrepresented community here in Colorado Springs. Pikes Peak United Way, sponsored by Kaiser Permanente, and I'm the instructor of it, created this program that, really makes an impact. It allows leaders to lead in their circles, but also confident enough to get outside of that circle and speak their voice. So that's something that I'm truly passionate about. We're human, so it's this versus that, right? From the beginning, it was evil versus good, Cain versus Abel, Alpha versus Kappa. So it's natural for us to have that competitive stance or posture, but as a product of that mixture, a biracial person who was technically illegal for some parts. You talk about Dinah Washington and her son George, who married my grandmother Mary. The Black man and white woman in that time frame was very tough. And then even for my mother, and father, both biracial, who grew up in New York, being mixed in New York in the 60s and 70s, that still was an interesting time.
Yes.
64 was, there's still some stuff going on. So coming together, that's something that I'm truly passionate about because I am literally a product of that. And I think that any door that I can help open, I'm gonna kick it open. So whoever needs to come behind me has an open door to get in. So that's huge. And I'll talk about business and what's going on. And like I said, franchising is how I got started. But for me, that impact and crossing lines is really important.
Let's stick in that area because you talk about biracial and you're a little lighter than I am and all that. But my background, I didn't know if you guys know, but my great grandfather is half white, half Black. My grandmother is half white, half Black.
Okay.
My grandmother on my mom's side is full Indian.
Okay.
So we are Indian, Black, white, and
American.
Yeah, we're American. So don't tell me to go back to Africa and all that. So I'm just saying, but that is something that I'm a fighter and everything, and sometimes we have been places to fight, and some places we go, you might want to go there only in the daytime or something. I'm just saying,
Sure.
And fighters know what I'm talking about. And we have been to tournaments where they said, and this is 2021 or 2020, 2021, where fighters show up, white fighters will show up and leave. and say, I don't want to be in the room or the same ring with a black person. And that can instill not anger, but it can instill hatred if you allow that. Are you faced with the things that you do out, because you do just as much as I do out in the community?
I wouldn't say that. Thank you. You're
pretty close to it. But are you ever faced with any of the true racism? They say that Colorado is the best place for mixed couples, the best place for mixed children, because it's supposed to be like a state that accepts everybody.
Sure. When I hear that they say, this place is the best for biracial people, or this culture, I always wonder who they is, right? Is it the culture that's in experiencing it, or is it the person who wants to say that they're inclusive? So that's a whole nother conversation. But to your point, which is a great point, being involved in the community, you're oftentimes, right, anytime you're helping someone in most times a less fortunate situation than you. When you come across someone who's in a less fortunate situation than you are, and there's some ideas, some prejudices, and some racism that gets in the way of what you're doing for that person, what you're committed to doing, whether it's providing food or helping them with their taxes, or right now at United Way, they're doing a lot of the ERAP, rental assistance. Yes, I have faced where it was subtle racism, and I have faced overt racism. I will say here in Colorado Springs, there hasn't been anything that's outlandish. During the murder of George Floyd and all that going on, there was some stuff happening, but I think that was societal. I don't think that was necessarily a Colorado Springs thing. I've been thoroughly impressed with how the city handles everything that they're working with, how they handle all the differences that we have within the community. With that military base, it provides a structure for us to know that we need to get along with our brother and sister, because we see it set example for us on Fort Carson, on Schriever, on Peterson. Now, are they perfect? Of course not, but we do have a model. As veterans ourselves, I know that if there's an opportunity for me to lead to an inclusive community, most times the military has been that. Of course, there's outliers. Of course, there's situations, but having that base here has been huge. And when I do face that, when I do come across a situation, I know that I'm serving because it's for God. I'm living like Jesus. So
yes.
And anytime I feel someone who slighted me, or I might have perceived a slight, because it's not always true, right? Our perceptions are reality. Right. I mean, Jesus was hung on a cross by people who said he was his king. So they're king. So
that's true.
And I'm not comparing myself to Jesus. I'm saying I want to be like Jesus, and that as a believer, I have to put ignorance, doubt, anything that's going to cloud my response in giving love to someone. So absolutely, I faced it, but has it impacted me? No. I got a mission, and I'll help the next person.
I like that. It's funny that we both grew up we were both military, but one thing, I grew up in Arkansas, and I grew up in the 60s and 70s. I was born in 66, but still growing up in the 70s and experiencing a lot, not so much now, but a lot of the N-word, and you couldn't walk down certain streets and all that. And I remember being a Boy Scout, and this just came to me when we were talking, you were talking, and we still are givers now. We are still trying to feed the homeless and everything. And I remember every Christmas or just before Thanksgiving, they would put the Boy Scouts and we would group up. And if me and you know each other, we're gonna say, hey, let me and him go together. Mm-hmm. So the blacks were teaming up with the blacks, and the whites were teaming up with the whites. And this is honest God truth. The whites would come back, boxes of canned goods and everything. The blacks would come back with 2 or 3.
Sure.
We didn't understand, because we didn't understand why people said we don't have it and just shut the door in our face, because we were young. We were 10, 12 years old or whatever. And I love the way the scout leaders handled it.
Okay.
They made us feel like we were special. So they said, well, John, why don't you and Tommy go together? And Tommy, James, why don't you and Lewis go together? And we started collecting the stuff and bringing back and all happy. But we didn't know at that time that we were being that's what it was back then. Because we weren't taught to. My dad didn't teach us, hey, don't hate this. I mean, hate this person for the color, but we were being judged on our color, and and this is Black History Month. We can bring that up.
Absolutely.
It is something that yes, and that is something that I always said I don't want to be prejudiced, because it's not that person's fault. It's just I think it's what's instilled in you as a baby, as a child, because you don't know whether to hate me or dark person or light person or what. It's something that somebody had to instill that into that person.
Absolutely. And it's been instilled for generations now, superiority and inferiority. So that's definitely something that's been instilled. You know, you go out to raise food and you don't have the same returns because of your status. That's huge. That's reminds me of, the baby doll test, where they would show a white baby doll to Black and white children, and the white baby doll was seen to be more attractive to the Black and the white children, because self-hatred is real, and that's been taught. So, I mean, yeah, you're definitely digging deep for Black History Month, but it's stuff that, and you said a good word, prejudice. I think we all have prejudice, right?
Yeah,
I can see a thumbnail on Netflix and think that's a bad movie, right?
Yeah.
I've prejudged that movie.
Yeah.
But if I'm racist and or if I'm discriminatory, screw racist. We already know that's happening. If I'm discriminatory, that means that I am taking or removing a benefit from someone who technically deserves it, or I don't have the right to take it from. So I'm using my power to turn my prejudice into a discriminatory practice that actually impacts people's lives. I'm sure you've heard this stuff about homes that were appraised, and they had, as every homeowner does, stuff with their family and their culture, and they just didn't think the appraisal made sense, and then they took down all the photos of the Black family and put up stock photos and $150,000 more appraisal. That's right. That really happened.
That actually happened. If you watch the documentary on O.J. Simpson, I was shocked when they went to do his house, and they told him, you need to put up some Black pictures in your house, because OJ, I guess, didn't have any Black, not even any of his family. And they told him to put some Black pictures up in his house to make his thing more towards innocent versus guilty. If you see the documentary,
I think I have a little bit of what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
I recall, I'm not Black, I'm OJ.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. But it's not a black and white thing that we are here to talk about. It just you made me think of my growing up, of how growing up in Arkansas at that time was not easy. When I look back on it, I'm like, wow, I was discriminated against basically everywhere. I was in my Army uniform, and we're freelancing here. Freestyle, I'm sorry. I was in the military. I came home from my brother's funeral in 1993. We were driving through Oklahoma, and I always told my wife, I never stop and drive into a city to get to a gas station. I'd rather stop at something on the road, because I know everybody's going in there. Well, this time somebody had to use the bathroom real bad or whatever, so we drove about 3 miles into town. And when we walked into the gas station, no talking at all. Zero, just looked at us like, I'm like, oh man, do you have a restroom? They didn't say a word. The lady pointed like that. Didn't say hi, nope, it's around the corner. Just pointed and guided us with her finger. And I was like, wow, I'm military. I wasn't used to that.
Right.
I wasn't used to that, because now I'm an adult and I'm in the military. And I'm working around whites, Black, Jews, everything in the military. And I think back in the day, I came in May 86 in the military. And I don't know how it was when you came through, but it still had some of that in there. You still had some of that in there. I don't know.
Without a doubt, I'm sure you still do, but
I don't know if it changed or what, but with me, my deal is this. I don't care what color you are. If you're hungry, I'm going to try to feed you.
Amen.
I don't care if I see somebody in need. I don't care. I think it's our duty, because I don't think Jesus sees color. And and they don't have a black heaven and a white heaven and a Mexican heaven. And people always say, when I get to heaven, well, what are you doing down here? How are you treating the people down here?
Absolutely.
You want to go somewhere to see somebody or see a God that you haven't never seen, but you get to see your brothers and sisters suffering down here and don't lift a finger, or because they're Alpha or because they're Kappa.
Right.
That shouldn't be.
Right. We should be storing up our treasures in heaven while we're here. Absolutely. I love it. And that's one thing I love about your motivational moments. You know, you always bring it back to at least some scripture, you know, and that's, I think anytime you are struggling or going through adversity, kind of what we discussed in adversity, this wasn't even meant to be a topic, and I love that we're approaching it, but it's a true adversity that we're facing. But when you can go back to just the foundations, and as believers, we know that that's the book. And that's why I appreciate you when you do throw scripture in and pass that with the word, you know, because when you speak God's word to people, you don't know who's watching. You don't know who's going to catch it later, but someone watching needs to hear it. So thanks for that.
Yes. And just like now, you can't see who's watching, but rest assured, it's registering in here.
Sure.
And what I like about it is because he's so soft-spoken and he talks really low, but we have closed caption on there, so all your words are in there.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So they are getting and receiving. But Ernie, tell us a little about you're a motivational speaker, I believe.
Yep. So I do some inspirational. Is kind of the niche that I've niched down into. But I guess we'll take it way back in the beginning of the conversation. So you know my mother very well. When I went to college, my mom promised me I wouldn't enlist in the military. She just made me promise, you know. So I made a decision not to enlist and commissioned, you know. So I did ROTC, and I remember the way I told my mom is, you know, I just talked to my ROTC instructor, Major Stackhouse, Brian Stackhouse. I called my mom and said, "Hey, Mom, you know, if a cadet dies, you get $200,000 and, you know, benefit."
Sign up. No.
She's like, "How do you know that?" I was like, "I just want to let you know that you're my beneficiary." So that's how I told her I was in ROTC, and, you know, I love words, and she told me not to enlist, and I kept my word, so I did commission. But I recall her. I was Fort Leonard Wood. I was back for one of the breaks, and I was doing some drill and ceremony. You know, my mom was a drill sergeant, so she knows drill and ceremony.
Yes.
She laughs at me. She like bold-faced laughs. I'm like, "What's going on?" And she's just like, "You are awful." Like, I will never salute you. You know, she says that so strong, and I'm like, man, that hurts. You know, but she still helps me. I'm doing push-ups, beat your face, all that. And she wasn't joking. My mom dropped a green and gold packet. She went to OCS, and she commissioned 2 months before I did.
Oh, wow.
Never saluted me. Actually, when I got out, she had already pinned captain, so I had to salute her. Which, for me, I get asked often, "What's my most inspirational or inspiring moment?" And for me, that's it. I helped elevate, and my mom did 17 years at this point, enlisted, and no offense, she could have been sergeant major of an engineer corps. She would have pushed, you know, but
yes.
There comes a point where you have those little ones you have to worry about, right? So it's what does retirement look like as an officer? And so that conversation is one I never had with her, but I motivated her to get to there. So for me, that's huge. So fast forward, I commissioned. I'm working for NSA in Hawaii. Really cool stuff. Deployed downrange. Deployed with the 75th Ranger Regiment, supporting special operations, just doing the coolest stuff. Like when they say, "If I told you I'd have to kill you," like that cool, you know? So some of the coolest stuff. And when I decided to get out, it was an interesting time in my life. I studied business at college, and I wanted to apply what I learned, but I really enjoyed the military, and it was a confusing time. So when I got out, I purchased a franchise. So I operated 3 franchises, 2 Rocky Mountain chocolate factories, and an Aspen Leaf frozen yogurt. That's where I learned business, actual business, right? Because I went to business school in 2007 and 2011, but I actually got to practice business. So I learned so much. One of the stores that I had on the East Coast did not work out the way I thought it would. It cost me a lot more than I thought it would. And I had to figure out some exit strategies that made the most sense. So that landed me into real estate. My wife now, she's my business partner. It's funny how that works out.
Mm.
Started doing real estate investments in the Northern Virginia market. Absolutely loved it. Full-time job though, so I wanted to get out of that. I obtained my license while that was going on, so fell in love with just real estate transaction, really creating value and generational wealth through home ownership, something I'm really passionate about. And then real estate is an asset if you make it one. It's a liability if it's your primary residence, but if you begin to really turn it into an asset, it's one of those streams of revenue that can make you a millionaire. So as I got to master and fail in real estate, I started training others to do that, whether it was investing, and that organically grew my portfolio. So I have investors in St. Louis who might need help on a deal. Now I'm involved in a deal in St. Louis. I have working on something in Nebraska right now out there in the Lincoln area, college town. So just having that network and that ability. Now I'm not doing as much real estate. I'm doing tons of real estate, but I'm coaching more. I'm helping people get into it more often. And that's something I'm really passionate about, which led to Speak Inspired. When I finished my MBA here at University of Colorado in 2001, I launched Speak Inspired as just one of those projects. And I always told myself, if Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, all these people started their programs in college or their businesses in college, it's like, nah, I want to just create something that'll last. So every class project that I had through the MBA program, I modeled as if it was a business I could run after I got done. And Speak Inspired is where I started doing a little bit of diversity, equity, inclusion, a lot of motivational speaking, and then coaching and consulting clients. And that transformed most recently into consulting businesses. So I have some businesses in Kansas City that we're growing from the ground. There's some apps that I've invested in that help within the drink service market. Just really trying to get my hands in as much business. I love real estate. That's what I do full time, but I'm a businessman. So that's what I really enjoy. So that's kind of the journey of where we got to now. And when I speak motivationally, whether it's at a university or an organization for getting the team ready to go out on a sales or church to go out on a mission, whatever, there's just some foundational inspiration that's needed, I feel like I'm able to deliver that.
Well, you know me, I'm always into something.
Sure.
And as we were speaking, and I know radio, TV and radio land, y'all probably look at him and say, wow, well, this guy don't look more than 15 years old.
I shaved recently for the record.
He is such an inspiration. He just don't know. He is such an inspiration. And what I'm going to do, because I am Dr. J. Wheel and I can make some stuff happen.
Okay.
You have so much. I need you to get me, and listen, Reddit, listen to TV land. I'm telling you this, and if I speak it, it's going to happen. But he got to do his part.
Action.
I am going to get you an article.
Okay.
In Pain to Purpose magazine.
Okay.
Not only Pain to Purpose magazine, but I'm also going to get you featured in Pain to Purpose magazine. That's Miss Tangi Roseboro. Miss Tangi Roseboro is out of South Carolina, but she's my ambassador for South Carolina to Come On In Incorporation. Dr. Laverne Adekule is the owner of another magazine, which is called, it blanked my mind. Don't kill me, Laverne. But
come to me.
It will come to me. I'm going to get your articles and I'm going to get them put into these magazines. Pain to Purpose magazine is owned by Miss Tangi Roseboro, and she is that magazine sells all over the world, Amazon and all that. And as you can see, I'm featured in a few magazines, but the magazine that Extraordinary People magazine.
There it is.
Thank you, Jesus. Dr.
You're going to lose your award. Yes, you're going to take it back.
Dr. Laverne is actually the assistant director for Come On In. A lot of people think it's Brenda, but Brenda is my co-owner of Come On In Incorporation.
He means boss.
Yeah, she's the boss.
Right. The boss.
And Dr. Laverne is my director of Come On In, assistant director. So she owns the Extraordinary People Awards, Extraordinary People magazine. And I'm going to. All I need is as many pictures you want to put in, and as long as your story wants to be.
Sure.
In those magazines, that the Extraordinary People magazine is really up high on the Amazon selling list,
Okay.
as well as Pain to Purpose magazine. You get your story because you are, man, you have a lot of people that look up to you. And whether you want to accept it or not, God has a mission. He has a purpose for your life, and He has a mission for you. You didn't even mention, like, next in 2 weeks, we're going to Arkansas. We are, and we're going to be giving out about 70,000 pounds of food to the less fortunate families and things like that. We're going to be giving it to the Meals on Wheels program, as well as the city mission. And we are set to set up a thing in the city park to give out additional food. But you guys do that right here in Colorado, I believe. You want to talk about that mission?
Sure, and thank you for that, by the way. So it happens in a few different places. Where I was most involved was with Pikes Peak United Way. We did a lot of food distributions, and I think that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
And they focus on the southeast corridor of Colorado Springs, and there's Mount Carmel, who does the same thing down in Pueblo. They do it here in Colorado Springs on a different day. They alternate throughout weeks. So Care and Share Food Bank is actually the one who sponsors all that. So it's a partnership with Care and Share Food Bank, who provides the food. They have the drivers drop it off. Wow. It's coordination between whoever's going to be that point of contact. And for United Way, I was that point of contact for April through about September of last year. Wow. And all praise goes to Elizabeth Cabedo, who in 2018, Mitchell High School had a food pantry that kept running short. Yep. And Elizabeth worked with Care and Share and the district to get all that figured out. And now we're operating at Sierra High School, Centennial Elementary, and we're doing them on weekends so we can get the weekend crowd, Thursdays to get the Thursday crowd. Wow. So Elizabeth really thought that up. She's a West Point grad, veteran herself, so she's added the logistical.
She's an officer. She's
an officer, but she's definitely put it together, and she allowed me to really elevate it to the point where we are now, where last year where we finished off, we had donated just under 2 million pounds of food. We'd helped over 3,600 people just in that window. Wow. And that ended up being about 3,600 families, which ended up being about 12,000 people just in that summertime window. Wow. That I was taking care of. And, a lot of those were repeat guests coming to get just sustenance that they needed. And for me, it's I've gone to sleep hungry, and it's very hard to focus on your schoolwork or worry about first period if you didn't eat breakfast, lunch, and you're not getting dinner when you get home. So the way United Way and Care and Share Food Bank has decided to make sure that food insecurity has at least started to get mitigated is something that's important to me.
I love that. And I know sometime this week, next week, it's some things. I'm the coordinator now from Colorado to Missouri, Springfield.
Yeah, you're doing the bikes.
Yeah, and then we're going to be going from Springfield to Arkansas, back from Arkansas to Springfield after we drop the loads of food. That is under the Midwest Martial Arts, that the Southern Conference that I'm a part of. Richard Osborne, they have given out over 1.2 million pounds of food just in the calendar year. Wow. To this point. That's amazing. From last year. And I knew that you did the same thing. And I got the city mayor, the councilman, all those people in Arkansas involved and waiting on me to get there. So I'm under pressure right now.
Absolutely. And depending on what your foods are, you can't have bananas for too long. So you got to get them where they're going.
All I know is non-perishable food. Okay. So we should be good. Canned goods and cereals and all that. So good. But I know I took some people over to Mitchell High School about that same time, 2018 or whatever.
that roundabout, that's a great school to do it in.
Yeah.
It's a full operation. They're doing great stuff. And like I said, Mount Carmel hosts the food distributions. Pikes Peak United Way hosts 3 a month. Solid Rock Development Center hosts them down in the southeast area. There's just a Care and Share Food Bank. If you're interested in helping out or have food insecurity, Care and Share Food Bank here in Colorado Springs has a way to help.
Do you have a phone number for them? Because
I can share it.
Yeah, you can. It will. Now you really got people watching.
Beautiful, beautiful.
You can share that number, and it will come up on the screen.
And
you don't see it on here, but they will see it on the
on the
screen.
Then we'll have to get that added, and we'll make sure we talk about it a little bit more. But
okay.
And they're always looking for volunteers. So if you've been in a situation in the past and you've struggled, and you know what that feels like, whether it's getting names so we can sign people in so it goes through faster, or helping us break down the food and putting it in the bags that we're going to separate and give to the family. Always searching for volunteers to be able to assist in any capacity. If you want to just hand waters to the people that are handing out the food, that's a good opportunity. So getting involved in the community in any way changes lives. And in saying that,
Come On In Incorporation is we are a certified, we can give certified volunteerism hours. If you have people that want to come through you and volunteer, and all you have to do is get me their name and I'll get them their hours. We have even had prisoners that are people that got out of prison or going from prison had to do volunteer hours or community service hours. We are an authorized organization to sign off on volunteer hours as well. Beautiful. So if you're looking for people, that's everybody y'all here, they're looking for people. You can call Mr. Ernest. Is that the phone number that's scrolling across the ticker that they can reach you at?
You can call me, text me. That is a line that will reach me directly.
His Mr. James number is and the email address is on the ticker at the bottom of the screen. If you have any information, this young man is just outstanding. Me and his mom, we're like Fred Sanford and Aunt Esther. So that's Esther. I miss old Esther.
We miss you.
But we love her. But we just became family when your mom moved here a few years ago, and we just protect each other like pit bulls. I mean, I watched your sister and them. I think Taylor was probably 4 or 5 when she moved here, and now she's 8th grade, 7th grade. They just blew up on me. So, but this is a great family, and man, you're doing well.
Thanks, sir.
And I know you've been married for a week now. Hey, you don't never leave the wife out. You better say the initials of her name or something.
Well, she's home right now. We did get married in August. We celebrated.
All right.
I met my wife in 2010 at the gym in college. So,
at the gym.
Yeah, we took some time apart while I was in the Army, and then got back together in 2015. And we got married on our 6-year anniversary of dating. So it made that one easy. So I won't forget that one. So we got married in August, and even better news, if you don't mind me breaking it here.
Break it.
We got news that we are expecting. So we'll be having our first child this summer.
A girl or boy?
We're not telling that.
You don't know yet.
We're not telling that. We know.
Hey,
we know.
I'm just saying.
I'm just playing. We're having a little boy. I'm having a son. I'm very excited about that.
Y'all, let me tell you, I know that they're gonna be great parents. But I always tell his mom, I'm Jeeps, y'all.
Okay.
Because I used to tell Joy all the time, Joy, if you have a grandchild, that baby is going to be spoiled. I used to always tell, don't say that. No, I said, I'm telling you, I can see the way you do your baby girl, the little ones. And I said, if you have a grandchild, they just trump your children. I mean, we have grandchildren, and I'm telling you, man, sometimes like, what the children doing over here? Because we want the babies. It's just something about having the babies around. And when you guys have your baby, man, that is just going to be Nancy, a great lady, you a great man. Y'all gonna have a beautiful baby. Is there anything else that you would like to share? Tell us about, we got your email and all that on the bottom, but
sure,
man, somebody might be looking for a house.
Sure.
I know you're a realtor, I believe, a realtor and all that. And
Sure.
Tell me
And
some advice.
Yeah, that's actually, let me jump on that train real quick. So, unsolicited advertising, right? So I am a licensed real estate agent. I got my license in 2017. We talked a little bit about, my journey. And I joined Keller Williams. My brokerage was Keller Williams. I sold real estate with them for about 5 years. And just at the end of last year, when we found out we were pregnant and married, and I'm reevaluating my business structures and how I want to maximize my coaching efforts, I did switch brokerages to eXp Realty. So now working with eXp Realty, it allows me a little bit more freedom of mobility. I'm allowed to partner with agents in different states without necessarily forming a team with them, and there's mutual benefit. It also allows me to create additional streams of revenue just within my real estate license. So I don't have to go start a property management company to create an additional stream. And it allows me to do what I love the most, and that's train other people, other agents, other business owners, how to be successful in their craft while I don't have to charge them, right? Because if they join my organization, the way eXp is structured, it enables me to benefit while they benefit. So what you said about the houses, if anyone's looking, especially to sell in this market, it's a market to sell in. I'm bringing something live. If anyone's in Fountain, I'm bringing something live over on Silver Glen out here in Fountain. So I got a 3-bed, 2-bath coming live. That's like hotcakes out here. So get ready. We'll talk. But what I will say, and you ask for any advice, and if anyone's looking to buy, I have a team here, and we'll help your buyers. I know your daughter's shopping right now.
Yes.
And your son-in-law is shopping. So what I will say for people, if you want to get in contact with me for real estate, you see the contact information there. I can square you away buying, selling. I personally invest. I've been doing commercial since 2019. I've represented deals with Lockheed Martin, Shandy Clinic, really cool boxer property here in Colorado Springs. What I would say to someone who's buying in this market right now or trying to buy is a little more accurate. If your realtor or your agent is putting in an escalation clause for your offer, and if you know what I'm talking about, that means you've been out here battling for these houses, make sure that you have an appraisal gap in there. If you are saying you're willing to pay this much over the asking price, but you're not going to cover that appraisal, you just put an IOU on the table while every other offer has chips. So make sure if you're doing escalation clauses or your realtor's talking about an escalation clause, that there's an appraisal gap in there. And then make sure that appraisal gap is something you can handle, because, and for those that don't know, the appraisal gap means if the house doesn't appraise for the purchase price, you're going to pay that gap in between. And if that gap is too expensive, that's going to hurt your wallet, and it's going to be some fees that you never even expected. So don't forget, when you're out here making these offers and you're challenged and you want to do an escalation clause, make sure it's a real one with an appraisal gap.
Sorry about that. My system shuts off every few, but
I'm long-winded.
Listen, no. We only been on 42 minutes. It's live up there. We good. Hey, send a shout out to each and every person that's looking at us tonight. Once again, this is Dr. J. Will with the Elite Motivational Moments with special guest, the man himself, the entrepreneur from down under, up above, in the middle, all that good stuff. Hey, listen, we are having a great time tonight, and just chatting it up. No subject title tonight. And this is what I like to do. I just like to go on the street most of the time. And, we have Elite on the Street, and this is what we want to do. We want to find people that's being positive in the community, that's doing things. Earlier, you guys heard me say that I want to put him on the Pain to Purpose magazine. This is the Pain to Purpose magazine. You can't really see it from that far back, but you can Google it, and you can purchase that on Amazon. And LA Exposed Fitness magazine is a magazine that is not going to be the fitness part. But if your wife want to get into this one, I can get her into the fitness one. You're fit too. I mean, you do the same thing she does, but
But she's pregnant, so she gets a pass right now. I've been trying to use the same pass, but it's not working.
But the fitness magazine, this is just a fitness edition. But LA Exposed magazine is the created by Dr. Laverne, which is the assistant director for Come On In. There was something else. I know it's passing my brain up, but we're going to do something in just a moment. Just give us a moment. What is something else that you want to leave them with? We talked about you being a realtor.
Okay.
We talked about your feeding the homeless, and I mean what is a better word? I don't like to say I'm feeding the needy. I just don't like that word.
Yeah, I love to say it's our community or our citizens that are struggling with food insecurity.
I can take that. I can take that because I don't like to say, "Oh, feeding the needy." It's like when I go out and on the street to the homeless. It's the homeless. Listen, y'all need to hear this, and I found this out. The homeless has you just can't walk up to them with a three-piece suit on, and they have God, it's like not a code, but I can't think of the word. It's passing me by, but it's a way to talk to them.
Okay.
That before they will accept you.
Okay.
Well, they have accepted me now because I don't go in. Man, you can get a job. Quit holding the sign. I go in and talk to them like a human being. I talk to doctors, nurses, all that good stuff out there. That just something happened, and I know the things that you're doing now because you are a part of the Divine Nine, which is you are a member of what fraternity?
Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated.
And let me tell y'all something. Just
because December 4th, 1906.
Listen. Cut all that out. I ain't asking all that. But listen, this was just black and gold up here. Don't think that they ain't got nothing to do with alpha stuff. I'm just letting you know. No, that if you want to know about the black and gold and the blue and white, that's because LA Exposed, which is Dr. Laverne, her colors are black and gold and white, and Come On In is royal blue and white. So I just cleared all that up. So I don't want him to think that just because I got black and gold up there, I did it just because he was coming on the show. I just had to throw that out. But is there anything else that you would like to leave? Just some inspiring words for someone that's in your shoes or were in your shoes. Maybe they want to get into real estate. Is it hard? Is it, you didn't just jump up and be Mr. Sell 'em all in one day,
Sure. I guess I would say, first of all, thank you for letting me chat with you tonight, and I hope we can do this more often.
We can.
I would say if you're wearing my shoes or you want to put my shoes on, take them off. And don't aspire for that because while I'm a firm believer that you have to learn before you earn, you need to reach out and seek guidance or at least example from people who have been there. So run barefoot for a while is what I would say. I'm on a personal mission to inspire generations by leading people to be purposeful and healthy. So I know that that's my mission. And when I wake up in the morning, it's not a dollar amount that motivates me. Granted, I do have a goal. You have to know where you're going if you're going to get there. It's not a Lamborghini that motivates me, but I do have a Lamborghini on one of my vision boards because I know that that's where I'm going. But I'm becoming a millionaire, not for the $1 million, right? We all want that, but more so for the time freedom. But ultimately, I'm becoming a millionaire because of the person one must become to be a millionaire. And I don't mean NFT Bitcoin, and no offense to those that make it that way, but who has created and structured a life by design. So in closing, what I would say to someone who's aspirational about success in any field would be time on task. Consistency. There's no one in any Hall of Fame from one game, from one dunk, from one touchdown. It's not even one season. One season won't get you in the Hall of Fame. A couple won't. It's a longevity, a consistent output to get the outcome that you desire. And to get that outcome, to complete that mission, to really have a life of success, you have to have one of service. So if you want to get to where you're going, help someone get to where they're going, and I promise your path will clear up.
See, young man with a lot of wisdom. And for all of you that has gone that had crossed those sands, as far as
they're burning.
have all of you that don't know and you've seen those.
I guess since we're first,
first of all, I will allow him. Listen, for all of y'all that has wanted to do this, we're gonna step away for about 10 seconds and we're gonna come back some hard brothers.
having too much fun.
That's what I love about my show.
Uh-oh. Oh, he might shimmy out here.
You know, I didn't want to. I didn't want to show out, but you know, he came to my house with the. You know, I had to go upstairs and bring down some stuff. You know, but this is the perfect example. You went to school where?
In Missouri. Western State University, Sigma Kappa chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha.
I went to Eastern New Mexico University, Spring '88, pledged under West Texas State University. Woo! That was a mouthful. Spring '88. But you know what? You went that path, and what? You pledged 2008?
Fall 2008.
I was spring 1988. So you see the big gap difference? But you know what? This is what it's all about. When we all can come together, whether it doesn't matter what fraternity you're in, it doesn't matter what church you're in, doesn't matter what color you're in, but when we have the same purpose, we're trying to reach the same heaven, trying to reach the same goal. Listen, this is what I love doing. When we can come together and people that's watching him as an alpha, inspiring to be an alpha, people that's watching me inspired to be that Ka Psi to the day I die. You know, this is what it's all about. When two brothers, now this is two brothers, and you let me tell you something, you young neos that's trying to get into these fraternities, stop trying to go against your brothers. That's one thing that I have a problem with, whether I'm pledging or watching pledges. We should not be fighting against each other. Did you hear this man? He said that he's selling houses, he's feeding the homeless, he's a family man now, he has a wife, he puts God first. Absolutely. Y'all, that's what it's all about. It ain't about because my colors are red and white and his colors are black and gold. Yeah, we kid around, but when the rubber hits the road, we need to be supporting each other. We need to support each other. And I'm here to tell you, and I'm going to announce this right now, right here. From this point on, I have a radio show.
Okay.
I have my Elite on the Street. I have the Elite Power Hour of Power. I am going to give you, until you feel comfortable enough to get your own, you can have a slot on my radio show, whatever you want to name it.
Okay.
Whatever information man, my eyes are tearing up because this is what God gave me to do. And anytime you want to sit down, I will show you how to do the whole thing. You can run it from your cell phone, from your iPad. You can be wherever you want to be, Timbuktu, and you can record your show from there. Okay. Because it's on demand. It's on demand. You can go to Spotify. You can go to iHeartRadio. You can go to Deezer. It's about 9 radio stations, and we cover over, on this show that you're on right tonight, we have over 600 million viewers on our show. We are in 7 different countries, and you're free to come on anytime.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't have to come on and be in the room with you. Hey, John, can I be on? Sure. I will set it up and you come in and use the studio anytime you want. And that's from me to you.
Thank you.
Because I love what you're doing out there in the community. See, people don't see the things that you're doing. They just, oh, he's a realtor. Oh, he's making chocolate over there.
I'm pretty bad at talking about myself too, though. So some of that's my fault.
Well, I'm helping you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'm getting paid for this. I'm getting paid for this advertisement. Hey, y'all, how am I doing? But that's from the heart. Yes, that's from the heart. And I just believe that God gave me this platform. Listen, I got 1,500 hours a year for this one show that I have to burn up.
Okay.
There's no way I'm trying to be on here 1,500 hours with all that I do. I can help young people like yourself that's inspiring to do more, because I know that if I help you, you're going to help somebody else. Yes, and I don't care if you bring your Alpha brothers on or the Kappas or whoever, but bring somebody on that's willing to help somebody else. And that's all that I ask.
Okay.
bring somebody on that's not only just to, oh, I'm gonna be on 600,000 homes. No, it's not about you. It's about us helping to build bridges. There's already been enough bridges torn down. Now it's time for us to start building bridges.
Yeah, I love that, Mr. John. And I'll say this because I read something recently, and in the commitment I've made, you know, when you build a bridge, sometimes you are that bridge. And someone said, if you're really gonna be a bridge builder, be prepared to get walked on, because sometimes you have to be the bridge.
Walked on, stomped on, lived on, spit on. Trust me, I started coming on in 1998, and I tell you, I've been all of that.
Absolutely, but you're
you
still
know
a
what?
bridge.
I was also a bridge to carry somebody over to the other
Exactly.
side.
Exactly.
Woo, I like that. But listen, this is Dr. J. Will with the one and only
Ernest Chambly, Golden Child.
Listen now, slow. I want him. This Dr. J. Will with the one and only
Ernest
Chambly. Mr. Golden Child. But listen,
I didn't choose.
Oh, here we go.
I didn't choose.
Oh, here we go. Here we go, y'all. 5 pieces of a dream. I'm just saying. But you know what?
But I think they might have named me that, because as you can see, I'm kind of blending in with this gold. I don't think it was a compliment.
Well, I won't say my name online. I won't say what they call me. But listen, another thing that I'm gonna say before I sign off is I look up to this guy because y'all didn't notice he said solo. This joker was the only one that made it in his class on that line.
And we started as a jewel line, which for my fraternity means there were 7 of us. And then on day 42, there were 2 of us. And then after 62 days, 21 hours, 3 minutes, and 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds of pure enlightenment, I was an alpha.
Well, after 16 weeks on the ground and 2 on top, before anybody knew what we were doing, I became a Kappa at 12:03, May 1st. Woo! Spring 88. So,
Mr. John,
I just really, really enjoyed you. Like I say, I know your mom probably watching. I texted her earlier and she was asking about it. Just thank you, man, for coming on. And I stick to what I said. SpreckerRadio.com. If anybody want to see this on SpreckerRadio.com, you can go to SpreckerRadio.com, and all of our shows are taped live, but they are transferred over to YouTube. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do. I have a couple of YouTube channels where I give real estate information. So Real Estate with Ernest, you can follow me on my social channels there. That's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Like the conversation about the escalation clauses and the appraisal gap, I cover stuff like that. On Speak Inspired, I do a lot of just motivational stuff. I will discuss mindset, making sure that you're using positive words to make sure that you're reaffirming yourself positively throughout the day. And then something I do for fun is Healthy Veteran. That's just, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook there as well. Just me kind of recording my journey as a veteran, because you don't have to go to organized PT. You're not going on ruck marches, and you don't have to eat MREs, right? So it's a little bit different maintaining your physical fitness after the military. So I just like to be able to have that resource for other veterans.
Thank you. Last word, if there's anything else that you forgot, this is your alibi time, because I'm going to shut it down. This is your alibi time. And I just thank you so much, number one, for seriously. I know we had fun on the show. Anytime you want to come on, hey, y'all, it took me about 9 months to get him on here. I'm just saying. But I am so glad that we had this. And like you say, I always tell people, I love it when I don't have to use notes, because notes, we got to check and marking. But look how it worked out.
Organic.
Yes. So once again, his Mr. Chambly information is scrolling across the bottom, and he's so soft spoken. You can read the caption on the TV, and you can get in contact with him. But give him your phone number. Somebody might be like me and don't have those good glasses where they can't see.
So feel free, and since you're on here, you know what? That's a business line right there. It still comes to me directly, but it goes through some checks and balances. My personal cell number is 719-338 7837. So that'll get me your message. If you have an iPhone, it'll be blue. That's my phone. 719-338-7837.
Then if you have another phone, it'll be like mine. It'll be like mine. Go to Walmart, pick it up, pay cash. Don't worry.
I don't know if you'll get a text back. No guarantees. You might want to call.
Hey, thank everybody for tuning in. This is Dr. J. Will and Mr. Ernest here. And like I say, we put out a lot of information. And like I say, I'm so glad to have him. You will hear him more. I'm going to ask him if he would sometime come back and cut a commercial for the show. He can cut a commercial on Spreaker Radio, and his commercial will be played throughout. I mean, it's on demand. So if anybody just type your name in on YouTube, this show on YouTube, you can go to YouTube, type in Dr. John Williams, Elite Motivational Moments with Dr. John Williams. And this show is filming live on YouTube, and where it'll be on YouTube if somebody want to go back if they missed something. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And I guess that's it for this hour. And since I got some new music, I'm gonna take you out on the music that I thought I did. I was gonna take you out on the music that I brought you in on, but you know what? It's all right. I can't find my music that I had. But y'all have a blessed day, and thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all be blessed.